Welcome to the road to Sonic Mania. Now before anybody asks, why am I doing this marathon? Well, honestly, it's going to be a trio of Sonic reviews. I was originally going to do it in a month's time frame, but unfortunately because I took too long on this specific review, it wasn't even possible. So with that being said, I'm not only going to be doing Let's Plays of Sonic games, I'm also going to review 3 Sonic games, all and to celebrate the upcoming release of Sonic Mania, which is coming out in 2 months' time. With that being said, the next review coming up is of course none other than the game that it was the best Sega Mega CD game that was ever created, Sonic CD. So with that being said, let's get on with the game and let's get started. So while Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was being developed in North America at the time, Sega of Japan created what was originally a Mega CD port of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. But because of lower sales of that game in Japan compared to the United States and Europe, the game was created as a standalone title to show the capabilities of the Mega CD. Sonic creator Naoto Oshima oversaw the game's development and implemented unique features such as time travel and even CD quality FMV and music to stand out from the usual Mega Drive fare. The game was released to critical acclaim and was the best-selling game for the Mega CD, with many YouTube reviewers saying it's one of the only games worth getting for the Mega CD add-on for the Mega Drive. The version I'm going to look at is the 2011 re-release, which was rebuilt up from the ground up, using by, of course, long-time Sonic fan Christian Whitehead, who is also involved with the upcoming Sonic Mania. Does this game really compare to the Mega Drive titles? Well, let's just have a look. Sonic goes to Never Lake where he sees Little Planet chained and partially mechanized by his arch-nemesis Dr. Ivor Robotnik, who plans to use the Time Stones to conquer that planet. Alongside that, Robotnik dispatches his new robotic creation, Metal Sonic, to kidnap a female hedgehog, Amy Rose, who apparently followed Sonic to Little Planet, and the Blue Blur must now save Amy and snatch the Time Stones off Robotnik's hands. Upon getting to Stardust Speedway, Sonic and his metallic counterpart race while Robotnik continues into the Tube of Terror, but Metal Sonic fails to win and is severely damaged, leaving Robotnik to run off with Sonic in pursuit, but saving Amy in the process. Sonic and Robotnik have a showdown at Metallic Madness, but as usual, Robotnik is defeated, leaving Sonic and Amy to escape the crumbling base. Depending on if you've collected all the Time Stones or not, you have 1 or 2 endings. If you don't get all the Time Stones or destroy the robot generators, Little Planet will be a desolate, dark planet under Robotnik's rule. But if you get all the Time Stones and get rid of the robot generators, Little Planet will be in its bright, cheery and peaceful state. The story still continues to be that simple, although like the Mega Drive games, but there is more of a sense of telling it like it is thanks to the FMV cutscenes, although there are 3 counting the endings, so it does work. So on to the gameplay. Sonic CD mostly handles things comparably to Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 with a few unique gameplay changes. Sonic can still use his signature spin jump, the spin attack, and his notable momentum-based speed. New to the game are 2 new moves, the Spin Charge and the Super Peel Out. The Spin Charge is like the Spin Dash, only except you have to charge it fully in order to get away, and it can be very intrusive. Luckily in the 2011 re-release there's the option to turn on the Spin Dash, so you have the option to use either move, but I recommend using the Spin Dash, it's more flexible. The Super Peel Out, however, you don't have to charge fully in order to get going if you're stuck in an incline, but charging it fully will give you a massive burst of speed, and it's awesome! The items returned in this game range from 10 rings, extra lives, invincibility, speed juice and shields, and some are hidden in areas which reward exploration, although some are closed off. That's when we get to, of course, the time travelling gimmicks. New to this game is, of course, time travelling aspect. Littered around the level, you'll see signs that say past or future on them. By passing one by, you have to go very fast and go extremely fast without any interruptions, and by doing that, you'll be sent to that timeline. Did Sega really take note from Back to the Future at all? However, since Dr. Robotnik has taken over Little Planet, it's up to the player to trash the robot generators in the zones. You cannot destroy them in the present or future, but you can destroy them in the past, so you need to travel back into that specific timeline, find the robot generator and trash it in. However, in later zones, they can be very hard to find, and you'll be taking a very long time to get to them, never minding the fact that the 10 limit time limit still stands in this game. But you may be asking, is it necessary to destroy all the robot generators? No. Because there is an easier way to make a good future in Little Planet, and of course, getting the time stones in this game's special stages. Like in Sonic 1, you get into the special stage uses the same method as getting 50 more rings, getting to the goal, and jumping into the giant ring. The special stages this time around involves you destroying 6 UFOs with different colour schemes in an arena, which the difficulty spikes up in each zone as you move on. One contains rings which multiply if you chain 2 or more of the same type together, and the other UFOs include speed tubes power, which makes you faster, but your turning becomes more clunky. The water is your biggest enemy, and it will deduct time whenever the more you're in it. If you only have 20 seconds left, another UFO will spawn, and destroying that will grant you extra time to get rid of the remaining main UFOs. The first few special stages are easy enough, but from the 5th one, I swear they get more difficult as they go on, with the UFOs moving with more sporadic power-ups. And it doesn't help that the special stage 6's sky is so strobing, it is enough to give you a fucking seizure! However, if you get all the time stones, every future will be turned into a good future throughout the rest of the game, and you'll be granted the good ending. But it doesn't give you Supersonic, so... blah! In terms of bosses, Robotnik seems to have made them a lot more gimmicky this time round. They range from the bumper robot, which can be inevitably destroyed if you have the invincibility power-up still active if you get to the far right of the screen, and the pinball machine, which allows Sonic to go up, but is a little bit wonky, especially in the previous versions of the game. To, of course, the platformer controller, which erodes as Sonic runs from the conveyor belt while avoiding bombs, and of course the spikes behind. My favourite boss has got to be the Metal Sonic Racing Stardust Speedway, where you must beat Sonic's metallic adversary while avoiding Robotnik's laser of instant death. Speaking of which, Sega, I would love to see Metal Sonic return in Sonic Mania. Will make sense if Stardust Speedway returns. Speaking of which, once you complete the game in the 2011 edition, you will unlock Tails as a playable character, who has his moveset in Sonic 3, including his flying ability from Sonic 3 and Knuckles and his swimming. However, you won't be able to get any endings this time around, as well as not even including Super Peanut, but you can destroy robot generators and still get the time stones though, so yeah. Still, it's nice to see Tails as a playable character in the 2011 edition of the game, and I'm glad that they managed to get the Blue Boy, the Two-Tailed Fox, his good playable appearance in the game. So how does the game's design fare? Well, the game's levels have a ton of multiple pathways to get to the goal, finding the paths of future sides to get to the specific timeline, and finding the robot generators. Depending on which timeline you are in, the stage layout changes. For example, an area you cannot get into in Wacky Workbench's present timeline, you can still access it in the past and Back to Future timelines. In terms of the designs themselves, the majority of the stages are well designed, and getting to the goal really feels satisfying. Although sometimes it can drag on too long though. There are a total of 7 levels, and like in Sonic 1, they have 3 acts in them. The first 2 acts are fighting those robot generators and getting to the goal, while Act 3 is the boss level, though not as nearly as long as Sonic 1's Act 3 stages. In terms of levels, there's the 7, of course, goes as follows. Palm Tree Panic. Like Green Hill Zone, only more cheery, colourful and upbeat, although it can be loud at times. Collision Chaos. A zone full of pinball physics, bumpers and springs plastered all over the place. Tidal Tempest. Not nearly as annoying as Labyrinth Zone, and even more ways to survive underwater thanks to more bubble areas, and you may not spend as nearly much time underwater as in Labyrinth Zone. Quartz Quadrant. Crystals, mines, robots and conveyor belts. My description of this zone in a nutshell. Wacky Workbench. Jesus, this level really knows how to overdo the gimmicky flaws. I know Sega wanted to make a level to stand out from previous zones, but come on, this really was OTT. Stardust Speedway. My favourite zone in the game, where you can unleash your speed through loops, slopes, tubes and all kinds of areas, and this is where you also face off with Metal Sonic. And finally, Metallic Madness. Robotnik's base of operations in Little Planet, and where you be able to confront Dr. Robotnik for one last time. It's not a hard stage, but it can be incredibly long, especially in the Maze Base Stack 2. As of what both gameplay and design offers, they really shine this game and they are incredible, and yeah, they all seem to be all what I accounted for. In terms of the graphics, they really hold up well for a Mega CD game. As you can see, the visuals are amazing and it really pops out whether or not the stage is in a bad, desolate future or a very happy, cheery, colourful one. I'm going to say that so far this is one of the best looking 2D Sonic titles, although at times there are moments where the visuals come a little too loud. But it may be just me though. Character animations are still good as their Mega Drive games, and even the FMV cutscenes are well animated. The 2011 version made a load of enhancements, not just to the gameplay but also the presentation, as the frame rate in the remastered release is a really smooth and running at 60 frames per second, so you can definitely clearly tell the visuals are amazing even for the digital re-release of a Mega CD game. So now on to the audio, starting with the soundtrack. There are two soundtracks in the game depending on which version you get. The Japanese soundtrack was on both the Japanese versions of the game and on the original Mega CD release of the European release, and the US soundtrack for American gamers. The Japanese soundtrack was composed by Naofumi Hataya and Masafumi Ogata, while the US soundtrack was composed by Spencer Nilsson, David Young and Mark Crew. I love the Japanese soundtrack more than the United States soundtrack. Why? Because it was better composed and all the songs really fit the atmosphere whatever level you are playing. My favourites have got to be the opening theme, Sonic, You Can Do Anything, or Tutu Sonic Warrior, and Cosmic Eternity, Believe in Yourself, the ending theme. Alongside the Stardust Speedway, all the timelines of them, the good futures are Tidal Tempest, Wacky Workbench and Palm Tree Panic. The bad futures sound pretty great, especially Stardust Speedway's bad future theme, which plays in the Metal Sonic race no matter what future you created. And the boss theme really is maybe wacky, but I absolutely think it's really, really amazing. It gets me in the mood for dancing though. The US soundtrack, on the other hand, I didn't enjoy as much, with some exceptions. The main theme, Sonic Boom, which is the song that plays on the intro cinematic, the bad futures, which mostly are enjoyable, and even the timelines of the final 3 zones are well composed. Apologies for me being more biased towards the US version, but I prefer the Japanese soundtrack. It's more custom to my head. The sound effects sound exactly like they do in the Mega Drive games, and they sound great too. This is also technically the first Sonic game to feature voice acting, but it only applies to Sonic and Amy. Plus it's only for getting a 1-up, Amy getting kidnapped, and of course if you wait too long... I'm out of here! Overall, Sonic CD is a fantastic game, one of the best of the Sonic series. Although it doesn't really compare much to the Mega Drive games, Sonic CD definitely ranks as high as those games. The presentation is top notch for a Sega Mega CD title. The gameplay certainly has some differences to make the game fresh while staying true to the Mega Drive game's core mechanics. The levels are well designed except for... The Japanese soundtrack is awesome and the story is greatly told, even though it's kept to its simplicity of the Mega Drive days. If you have Steam, a PS3 or Xbox 360, or even the game streaming subscription services of the Xbox One or PS4, go and play the 2011 re-release. It's worth getting for your collection, and Christian Whitehead are those responsible for this rebuilt version of Sonic CD. You should have my thanks for making the game more playable. Mr. Whitehead, I'm looking forward to Sonic Mania. It's a game I'm really getting pumped for. And so with that being said, I am going to give Sonic CD a 9 1/4 out of 10. So you're basically saying this right now, it was inevitable that Sonic CD wasn't really that well received. Well, in terms of sales, it was because it wasn't the game's fault, but it was because the Mega CD was a bit of a bust compared with the Mega Drive itself. Now, I definitely would like to take the time to go to look into the 32X kit soon, but I just don't have the time. Besides, I've got to get into the next game, and that is of course Sonic Mania and Knuckles. So until next time, this is Kiddo, signing out, say goodnight, thank you for joining me, and until my next video gaming Kiddo show, remember to keep calm and game on. So until next time, have a great and wondrous day.
You got to have the faith.